welcome to Network. My name is Pumela Lezondi with your technology and social media news. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Today I am in Clement. You'll find out in a little bit what I am doing here in Clement. This week, To the Poll is asking you about that edit button on Twitter that a lot of people have been waiting for years and years. But it seems like it's first going to be open to people who are paying clients of Twitter. And our poll is asking you if you'd ever pay for Twitter. Results of that are coming up later in the program. Firstly, here's what's coming up in this program. We have a digital skills initiative by the United Nations. There's information on devices and how they've evolved over time. And in our discussion, we look at the safety of women online. Youth unemployment is at staggering rates in South Africa, and we do know that the vast majority of South Africans don't even have a post-matric qualification. Some of those young people are here at the Makerspace to try and gain skills that are going to help improve their employability. At the Makerspace, we meet Tobile Mqambi, who lives in the township of Clement, outside Pinetown. She's worked as a sales assistant for a big supermarket before, but now has dreams of one day running her own internet cafe.
If I can balance my financially, I can start in renting to open an internet cafe to help people around Clement. And since it's a business, you have to work, you have to meet some competitors around you.
In Clement, Tobile takes us to a shops precinct with food eateries, barbers and hairstylists. But there's no internet cafe.
Around my place, they only open from Monday to Friday. So on that, there are also people who want to do some things on internet cafe on weekends, so I can also open on weekend because others they do not open.
She understands that the sales skills she's gained at the supermarket will help her run her dream business, but has no relevant digital skills she might need for that internet cafe. The Makerspace program will assist Tobile and others gain skills that will help them either run their businesses or improve their employability.
We're looking at the digital training as well as the employability, which is more soft skills, a lot of things about values and principles and morals, what's suitable for the workplace. And the technical skills are the digital skills that make people employable. It's all the sort of workplace software that you would use on a day-to-day basis, as well as introducing them to the fourth industrial revolution.
The Makerspace has run various programs over the years, but there was some interruption that came with the COVID-19 pandemic and its lockdowns. They're back in action now.
We're focusing on individuals who don't have tertiary studies and who've been unemployed for some time. We're looking at the category of people between 21 and 35, and we're focusing mainly on women. So our whole goal is to unlock opportunities in terms of the economy and in terms of employability.
Some participants in this program already have small businesses of their own. Noli Simbata makes and sells baked goods. He feels he's already gained new skills here to assist him in selling them online.
I discovered how a business can be added when you're searching on Google. You see, when you're searching on Google for a business, I discovered how that is done for the business to pop up on that Google page. I think by the end of this course, I'll be able to create a website. I'll be informed on e-commerce also.
Pindile Dembe says what she's gained will improve her township laundry service.
It will assist me in terms of being able to put my business in a more digital platform. Therefore, it'll be more advertised And then obviously it'll give me more people to come in my business and use my services that I'm offering.
The Makerspace Digital Skills program will continue for a few months more, and the program is funded by the United Nations Development Program, or UNDP. The gadgets we use to communicate have evolved over time. It started with big desktop computers, then it was laptops. There was a time we had tablets and small mobile phones, but it seemed like mobile phones were also getting bigger and bigger over time. But now there's something in between, right? A mobile phone that also opens up to be somewhat of a laptop-sized screen. But do we really need all of this?
Huawei has had a rough 2 years, but things are slowly starting to look up as they have recorded their first international sales rise since the American in 2020. With that, they have launched a phone with a screen that opens up to be the size of a tablet.
When you fold the phone, and the reason we put it to fold at the back, it still needs to be usable as a smartphone, because this is the form factor that you keep most of the time with you. When we want to expand and you want to have productivity, yes, you're opening it into a larger screen size, but majority of users, I would say 70 to 80% of the time, this is how you would use it. So you still need to have the large screen real estate, okay? At the same time, to be able to ensure, and this falcon wing hinge that we've used, I've just mentioned the crease, to minimize any creases so that it does not compromise your viewing experience once opened.
In South Africa, they have seen a gap in the tablet market too, and they are going in hard this time.
In the South African context, I think we've got a strong brand equity, very loyal customers, and again, we had to address those fears and concerns, and once that was done adequately, we find that people are still supporting the brand very well.
Intel says while Africa has been called the first mobile-first continent, there's still a gap for those who want to explore laptops. With the growth of the gaming industry, that's the market they are focusing on.
We work very closely on a project called the First Time Buyer Project, where we are trying to increase the PC penetration rate both in South Africa and the rest of the continent. So we work very closely with our ecosystem partners to get devices into the hands of students and the youth. Because our PC penetration rate in South Africa is far lower than the rest of the world, and that's what we're working to drive and get those devices into the hands of the students.
The expansion of video streaming services, gaming, and remote work have all meant mobile phone has had to keep up because people don't want just to do ordinary, and because they are not on the road, the laptop can be an option too now. But this has meant that mobile phone manufacturers have had to be creative.
Z3 series, so both Z Flip 3, Z Fold 3 were real breakthrough products. That's when foldables became mainstream. You started to see people with these devices. Your friends, your family might have had one in that regard. So we saw, to put in percentage terms, from the sales perspective of it there, it was 1,200% growth. I mean, that's phenomenal, effectively. But it really just shows that South African consumers liked the idea. They saw the value in having a device that, again, offered a large screen, but a compact, foldable, body.
As many countries have eased pandemic-era restrictions, enabling employees to resume in-person work, the choice for many companies has been a hybrid setup. HP says it is launching hybrid work solutions to mirror these expectations and meet growing demand.
First, we want to ensure that everyone can be collaborative with anyone, anywhere. That you can collaborate with anyone, that you can talk and your voice can be heard. And this is why we have solutions like HP Presence, that is a new solution for meeting rooms. We want people to be able to transit from any workflow. This is why we have the HP Folio G3, that will allow you to work, like consuming media, so watching or being in a Zoom call and suddenly changing to writing with a new pen, and or like just putting in clamshell, a new form factor with 3 types of work capabilities. Okay, so like allows you to work wherever you want, allows you to shift, technology.
Experts say there is a downside to this. Organizations need to address issues around the integrity of data and security.
In hybrid work, we are working from home, we are working from many places which are outside the firewall. This means we don't have the traditional protection of what the IT usually provides you when you're sitting in the office and working. So this means the threats are even higher working in a hybrid work environment. So we wanted to make sure that our portfolio, Dragonfly and the rest of the portfolio, meets a very, very high bar on security, which it does.
On the upside, some companies are figuring out that they need to be flexible and accommodating, especially if they want to recruit and retain a diverse workforce.
They have more power and they want to participate on the company purpose, on the company policies, and on the tools that they are really selecting to work to be productive and create. So I think for the employees, this is giving them more freedom, and we need to make them that they keep being safe. But for employees, it's more freedom to work where they really feel they need to work for their work and life, and giving them the tools that they feel that they can personalize and using for their specific use cases.
Several companies say they're updating their offices to suit new hybrid models, including creating team-focused spaces and collaborative areas.
Every once in a while, you might find that you've run out of cash at a really tight time of the month and you need that little push. And it's often banks that would give loans, but they don't give loans to just about anybody, and it's loans of a certain amount of money that banks would give. But now mobile phone network providers are getting into that space, and they seem to be giving loans to people who probably need that 100 Rand maybe.
South Africa's dwindling economy has seen consumers needing more funds to survive daily life. To counter this, Vodacom's financial service division has launched VodaLend Cash Advance, a product that gives customers access to money when they run out.
The Vodacom Cash Advance product gives customers quick and secure access to money when they need it most, whereas your Airtime Advance product is only available for the purchasing of airtime or data or a telco-related product. This product is different. It actually gives customers access to money which they can then use for whatever it is that they need to use.
Vodacom says the new edition is geared towards underbanked consumers who need quick and barrier-free access to funds, and that lenders are carefully selected with the help of artificial intelligence.
This product will be launched into our super app. As a Vodacom customer, we use very sophisticated algorithms and big data analytics to inform our credit decisioning process. So this gives our very loyal Vodacom customers an advantage, as we know them better than traditional funding institutions will. And because of that, we can offer them finance, which is not just quicker, but also cheaper, because we know so much more about them.
According to the South African Reserve Bank, the country's households spend 3/4 of their take-home pay on debt and only have 1/4 of their salary to spend on everything else. This information then leads us to the question, how will Vodacom handle those who default in paying their debt?
They have intimate knowledge, not of individual users, but of the overall behavior of their users and how individual users match up to that overall behavior. So it's not that someone is looking at a user's account and behavior as an individual, but rather they are automatically matched by the system to their ability to repay loans. And the interesting thing there is that they can look at their customer behavior in terms of billing. So how much do they top up every month, or what is their contract amount, or what is their usage of the Vodacom telco service.
Vodacom customers can now access a cash advance from as little as 50 Rand and up to 500 Rand, with the options to settle it over 7, 14, 21 or 28 days.
It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we chat about the safety of women online. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram News Network at sabc.co.za and email. Welcome back. Now, there are many cyber threats that people face online, and cyber violence is one of them. Various companies, starting from Meta to Google and others, are coming up with different ways of dealing with the violence that many people can face when they are using their platforms. To discuss all of this, especially when it comes to the safety of women online, is Ilonka Pradenost, who is from WASPA. Hello, and thank you very much for being a part of our network, Ilonka. Maybe if we can start by explaining what cyber violence actually is.
Well, cyber violence can be described as the use of computer systems to cause, facilitate, or threaten violence against individuals. And it will result in, or is likely to result in, physical, sexual, psychological, or economic suffering and harm. And it may also include the exploitation of an individual's circumstances, characteristics, or vulnerabilities. A recent study by the World Health Organization has indicated that 1 out of 3 women will experience a form of violence during a lifetime. And despite this new and growing phenomenon that is the internet activity, it is estimated that 1 out of 10 women have already experienced a form of cyber violence since the age of 15. I mean, that is absolutely a staggering statistic.
Ilonka, can we discuss the different types of cyber violence that especially women face online?
So here we're looking at discrimination, gender biases and sexism, and specifically against women of color, members of minority religions, and people that are part of the LGBTQI plus community. Now, there are various types of cyber violence, and when you have to define those, we're looking at things like different types of harassments, different types of bullying, violations of privacy, sexual abuse and sexual exploitations, as well as biases and gender biases and discrimination. But cyber violence can also relate to actual physical threats of violence as well as actual violence. Here we're looking at things like where computer systems are being used for things like murder, kidnappings, rape, other sexual forms of sexual offenses, as well as extortion. Now, to take that back to like our everyday lives, that's maybe slightly more familiar, is things like revenge porn, that's become a hot topic, sextortion, cyberbullying, and cyber stalking. In the workplace, we're thinking about things like unsolicited sexually explicit emails or messages. On social media landscapes, we're thinking about offensive material or offensive advances, as well as stalking and bullying. And then also some of the general things in the commercial space, like financial scams online, like phishing and smishing scams. And then obviously also things like hate speech. So where people are online insulting or denigrating or threatening violence against an individual, and specifically now with gender-based violence, they're threatening the individual based on her gender or her identity, as well as other characteristics like the sexual orientation or possible disabilities.
As it happens online and not in the physical world, is it a crime?
Yes, well, definitely it is. So luckily there's been some advancements within South Africa. Certain sections of the Cybercrimes Act has come into force in December 2021, where some of these specific types of activities have now been criminalized. And, it's the Cybercrimes Act, but that will obviously include specific cyber types of cyber violence. So we believe that if you are a victim, or if you are aware of, for example, illegal internet content like child sexual exploitation or child sex abuse material, or you see other forms of illegal activity, for example, commercial scams or identity theft, you now have to go to your police station and you can report it at any of your police stations.
Ilonka, are there online spaces where women can go in order for them to get some kind of assistance in all of this?
Yeah. Well, we have to look at it this way. Access to the internet has almost in today's society become fundamental or a necessity for economic growth. And as some people even view it as something that they see as a fundamental human right to have access to the internet. So therefore, it is imperative for us to now learn how to navigate safely, and not only safely, but to be able to empower us within this virtual or online environment. Luckily, there are some tips that are quite helpful, specifically now for women and girls as well. Things like be share aware. When we were younger, we always learned from our parents to not speak to strangers. Stranger danger, that couldn't be more relevant in today's life. We need to be extremely vigilant when we are interacting online. Then protect your personal information. Personal information has become such an important and expensive commodity in today's life. So we need to learn to protect it by doing things like switching off geotagging and switching off our location settings. Be social media savvy. Make sure that you educate yourself on the security and privacy settings on social media. For girls and for women specifically, one of the biggest things that we're finding nowadays is that we need to protect ourselves, specifically when we're interacting on things like dating sites, or even responding to something like a job advert or a job opportunity. We found that predators now use this as a hunting ground to find their victims and to interact with their victims. So as females, we really do need to be careful when operating within these spaces.
All right, Ilonka Bradenos from OASPA, thank you very much for being a part of our network. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Stay with us. It's SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are in Clement, where we met a young person earlier who doesn't have any digital skills, but is attending a digital skills program that she's hoping is going to help her open an internet cafe one day. You missed out on that if you're just joining us. But here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the tech space.
Ford Motor said it will cut a total of 3,000 permanent and contract jobs, mostly in North America and India, as it restructures to catch up with Tesla in the race to develop software-driven electric vehicles. Ford Chief Executive Jim Farley has been saying for months that he believed the Dearborn, Michigan automaker had too many people, and that not enough of its workforce had the skills required as the auto industry shifts to electric vehicles and digital services. Ford, GM, and Stellantis North American operations will confront a new workforce challenge next year as they begin contract negotiations with the United Auto Workers Union, which represents the Detroit automaker's U.S. factory employees. And now in Australia. The country's regulator sent legal letters to Facebook owner Meta Platforms, Apple Inc., Microsoft Corp., Snapchat Inc., and Omegle, demanding they share their strategies for stamping out child abuse material on their platforms or face fines.
So we're issuing 7 notices today to major technology giants and sites that we know are being used to prey upon children or are being weaponized through live stream child sexual exploitation and sexual extortion for profit. And these include Microsoft, Apple, Meta, WhatsApp, Skype, and Omegle, which is known as a playground for pedophiles to be hooked up randomly with young people.
The move underscores Australia's hardline approach to regulating big tech firms since 2021, which has so far included laws forcing them to pay media outlets for displaying their content and laws making them hand over details of anonymous accounts which post defamatory material. Microsoft said they plan to respond within 28 days, while Apple did not immediately respond to an email seeking comment. And now in the USA. Officials have ordered NVIDIA to stop exporting 2 top computing chips used in artificial intelligence to China. The chip designer disclosed the ban in a regulatory filing. It's a move that could hamstring Chinese firms' ability to carry out advanced work like image recognition and cost NVIDIA hundreds of millions of dollars in business. The order affects its A100 and H100 chips designed to speed up machine learning tasks.
Now, a lot of people have been asking Twitter to open up the edits button. They said they will be doing that, but for paying clients of Twitter. So this week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you would ever pay to use the social networking platform. And that's it. That's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za. And email from me, Spumele Zondi, and the rest of the team right here in Clement. Have a good one. Bye-bye.